There are more answers than you know.
Each had multiple stab wounds. Some had defensive wounds, showing they fought with the attacker. And there was no sexual assault. County Coroner Kathy Mabbutt is describing the murders as personal.
It's our girl, Kathy Mabbutt. And hello, everybody. Welcome or welcome back to Watch the Obsession live stream and chat. And this evening, we are going to be talking about the Idaho case, but we are invoking the spirit of Halloween a little bit because I love Halloween. We've got our cute little black kitty. Meow. And this big pumpkin guy behind us. And there's a reason for all this. I'm going to tell you in just a second. Going to be my friend for the live stream. I told you guys once it was around Halloween time, and it is about that time right now, that we were going to do a live stream, during which time I was going to share with you my creepy ass supernatural experience having to do with the Watts case. And you don't have to be a Watts case fan to be down with this. It is for realza, and it scares me to this day. I also wanted to then invite all of you guys to share your experiences like that. So I think sometime around the end of next week, we're going to do a live stream like that, just kind of fun, sharing some supernatural experiences having to do with true crime cases. If you have any, or anything along those lines, we would love to hear what you have to say. So welcome, everybody. I am so glad you're here. If you missed me, maybe you did, maybe you didn't. I do apologize. I had a run-in with COVID. It seems to be an annual thing for me. So I was down and out for almost a week, and I'm back. I'm a little congested. So if you hear that nasaliness, you probably do, because I'm feeling nasally. It's always a different experience. Always. So, hey, McJay. Hey, Angel D. Thanks for becoming a member again, Angel D. It's great to have you back. Hey, Eddie. How are you doing? Hey, Anaplex. It's great to see you, darling. I want to chat with you sometime. Hey, Midge. Man, that dude over on, I think it was a Facebook group where we encountered him, is the most vile person that I have ever run into as a true crime creator. And listen, covering the Chris Watts case and even this case or any true crime case, I have run into some really angry, hateful, vile people. And that person, Midge, that you experience a little bit of, takes the cake. I can't even repeat a lot of the things that have been said. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Angel. Hey, I appreciate that. And hey, Layla, how are you doing? And see who else? Hey, Tina, welcome. How are you doing? Hey, Amy, Terry, I'm glad that you made it here. Hey, Jackie, how's it going? Nice to see you. Hey, Chatty Maddie. Oh, I love that name. That's great. Let's see. Hey, Michael Levine, how's it going? Hope you're still here. Hey, Tracy Wheeler, great to see you, my friend. Great to see you. Hey, Tara B, how's it going? And I am Shelly. Hope you're still here as well. So everybody come on in, get comfortable. There are a lot of things to talk about this evening, and I'm so excited you're here. So, yeah. Hey, Natural Healing, how's it going? Garden Girl, how's it going? I haven't seen you in a while either. It's wonderful to see all these people. All our friends. Emily Elizabeth, how's it going? Nice to see you as well. Great. Aw. All right, so I'm just going to play, it's just a very little clip. It's like a 60-second clip from, I guess they call it, I was calling it KREM. It is a local station out west, local to the Idaho, Washington state area. I've heard them call it KREM. So we'll now call it KREM. Hey, Aries. I'm going to definitely say that wrong. I'm going to call you AP. Great to see you. Hey, Double R. So happy you're here. It's official. WTO comes on, and the guy with 2 R's, pants come off. So happy you're here, Double R. It's never the same without you. Oh, my goodness. And hey, Honey Bun, how's it going? So we're going to be talking about the expanded search warrant news that came about in the past few days, I believe. Now, remember, I was in a COVID haze for several days. So if I'm not totally correct on the timing of when things surfaced, that's why.
Brand new for you this morning, newly released court documents are revealing that police in the Moscow murders case are asking for more information from several big tech companies.
The new search warrants were obtained over the summer and are asking for the suspect in this case, Brian Kohberger's customer information on Amazon, Apple, and PayPal. Prosecutors previously asked Amazon for information related to knife-related searches in December of last year. We at Crim first told you about this warrant back in March. In the new warrants, prosecutors asked Amazon for a wider search history that includes items that he might have looked at but did not. Documents show police are asking for that customer information both during the murders but also in the months before Kohberger even moved to Washington state. Kohberger was originally scheduled to go to trial next Tuesday, but that has been pushed back indefinitely. You can find more on this story on our website right now at crim.com.
New evidence in the Idaho murder case suggests
They move so
that Maddie
fast.
Mogan, not Kaylee
Give me a second.
Gonzalez, was Kohberger's alleged target. Sounds about the quadruplicide of this, and some of the victims' families sat down with 48 hours. Who was killed first? Was there a connection to the killer? What happened the morning the bodies were found? It has always been my assumption that the perpetrator went to 1122 King Road on November 13th with the goal of killing one person, most likely Kate or Matt. Based on all the evidence currently out there, I always lean more towards Kaylee, but now I am not so sure. Kaylee's own family is revealing never before heard details about the crime scene and the alleged killer that points directly to Maddie Mogan as the target. Kaylee's parents and her sister Olivia have been outspoken advocates for their daughter and the 3 victims since day one. So outspoken at times that members of the public have criticized them for getting in the way of the investigation. But from the moment a deputy showed up,
We're not criticizing you, family.
On November 13th to tell them that Kaylee was murdered, the Goncalves family mobilized to help find her killer. And one of the things they did early on was speak to the coroner, who gave them details that up until this point I had never heard, details about the crime scene. Now, I'm sure you're wondering how this was all able to happen with the current gag order in place. The gag order covers the attorneys and the investigators, but it doesn't prohibit families from speaking out. The coroner is covered by this gag order, but the Goncalves family spoke to Coroner Kathy Mabbutt prior to it being put in place by the judge. Now, from the onset of the investigation, police were firm in their opinion that the crime was targeted, but they never said who the target was.
The bed was up against the wall. headboard was touching the wall and the left side of the bed was touching the wall. And we believe that Maddie was on the outside and Kaylee was on the inside.
According to Coroner Mabbutt, the killer's first victim was Maddie, says Steve. And then from Maddie, he moved on to your daughter.
This is huge. Up to this point, investigators have never confirmed the order of the killings. If what the Goncalveses claim the coroner told them is true, and it was Maddie, we might have our biggest clue yet about the intended target, which may lead us to motive. We have known for a while that the murders started on the third floor with Kaylee and Maddie. Surviving roommate Dylan said she woke up around 4 a.m. to what sounded like Kaylee playing with her dog on the third floor, followed by one of the girls upstairs saying someone's here. At this point, we know Xana was still alive on the second floor, having gotten a DoorDash around that time, plus she was active on TikTok at 4:13 a.m. when Kaylee and Maddie were likely being stabbed to death the floor above. By all accounts, it seems that the killer silently slipped into the house from that back sliding glass door and made a beeline for the bedrooms on the third floor, indicating that he expected his primary target to be there that night. Kaylee and Maddie were up there, sleeping in the same bed. Even though Kaylee lived in the house, she had actually moved out already because she was graduating. She was just there visiting for the weekend. So let's imagine this, the way Kaylee's mom describes it. One side of Maddie's bed was up against the wall with Maddie sleeping on the outside, putting Kaylee between her and the wall. Now, in this configuration, Maddie would have been the first person that the killer had access to upon entering the room, and he would have needed to lean or climb over her in order to get to Kaylee. Now, the Goncalveses said that they uncovered evidence that Kaylee had tried to get out of the situation but was trapped. They didn't expand on what that means, but it could mean defensive wounds or just kind of how her body was positioned on the mattress. The knife sheath was also dropped out to the right of Maddie's body with the killer's DNA on the snap. That felt to them that the killer snuck in, unsnapped the sheath, and pulled the knife out for the first time, dropping the sheath in the process, effectively marking his start point. Now, the sheath was discovered by investigators on this partial sheath of Maddie's body, so I really do think he dropped it right when he unsheathed the knife for the first time. Does Maddie Mogen being the first victim killed mean that she was the intended target? Not necessarily. It could simply be that the way they were sleeping, she was just the first one the killer got to. But Kaylee's parents revealed more circumstantial evidence pointing directly towards Maddie. When Brian Kohberger was arrested on December 30th, it was the first time anyone had heard his name, including the families of the victims. Investigators had never tipped their hand that they even had a suspect. But as soon as the Goncalves family heard the suspect's name, they tried to find him on social media, and they came across this account.
From our investigation of the account, it appeared to be the real Brian Kohberger account.
The one they claim was the real deal is this one that is one of many that have been floating around Reddit for months. It had one post, 1,943 followers, and was following 99 accounts. Some of them, according to the Goncalveses, were Kohberger's known relatives.
Okay, sorry. I wasn't planning on that, but I don't even know who that was. Thank you, person. But I was just looking for something that I had closed the window on. So that was fine because listen, something that I do want to mention is, when I was just listening to her speak, and I may have presented that material in the exact same way, but we're saying, oh, there was all of this information, all of this evidence, all this stuff, we didn't know about until the 48 hours. But that's really not the case. It's really just the same thing we've been hearing with maybe a little more detail or with a different perspective when you hear from various family members or things like that. We're kind of just hearing it again. But that's okay. We are learning more. There are more details coming out. And I think the most important thing is that the family members get to voice their opinion. They get to have their voice. And, they get to speak out because they need to. I don't know if you know this, but although I know the Chapin family receives a lot of criticism from some people who I think, in my opinion, are kind of missing the point or maybe sort of cold-hearted people, because some people don't think that they're reacting in just the right way, which I think is kind of crazy. It was Jim Chapin, Ethan's dad, who was the first of the victim's family members to speak out and put a message out to law enforcement, just saying, hey, we want you to know that this air of secrecy around this investigation is only increasing and, exaggerating and maybe elongating or lengthening our pain. So could you please be forthcoming with some actual information? So I think that's fair. Turn my camera off because I feel like I'm buffering. Okay. So, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, some people are very rude to the Chapman family. That drives me freaking crazy. Let's see. Let's see. How would the parents have? Welcome to everybody who just came in. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to go back to that. I want to talk a little bit more on the information that just came out to the public, at least, about the expanded search warrant that dates back. Excuse me. I'm going to probably be doing that a lot. If you weren't here in the very beginning when I just said I have COVID, I'm getting over COVID. I don't know what the phrasing is to use. That's going on. So every now and then I just kind of start choking. So I do apologize for that. Sounds so not savory. Yeah. Okay, and I couldn't find what I was looking for, so, I'm going to be borrowing from Police Off the Cuff. Love this channel. If you are not subscribed to Police Off the Cuff, I think you should definitely go check them out. Now, if you are, dead set on believing that Brian Kohberger is innocent and you're anti-prosecution, you might not love this channel because, well, this dude right here, great guy, great creator, just seems like a really great person, was a New York police detective. And, so that's what's up. So, police tend to be pro-prosecution. Sometimes, mostly, it's just how it is.
DNA left on a knife sheath. That's what investigators used to uncover to a crime scene where 4 University of Idaho students were found stabbed to death in November of 2022.
You understand these rights?
Yes. Kohberger stood silent at his arraignment.
I'm going to enter not guilty plea.
Where a plea of not guilty was entered on his behalf. Newly unsealed court documents show investigators are following digital footprints, serving a warrant to Amazon. They're looking for detailed customer click activity pertaining to knives and accessories.
These warrants reveal something about what the state is attempting to do and what they're concerned about. They know it is a problem that they can't connect Kohberger to anything more than a knife sheath.
Over the summer,
folks, that's...
Before he even comments on that. Sorry, guys. I would like to comment on that. To say that there is no connection, and I've been trying to keep an open mind, so I've been holding my tongue a little bit on this issue, but I'm just going to say it how I see it. And if you don't see it this way, please let me know. It's all good and we can have a discussion about it. But to say that the only connection to Kohberger is this knife sheath and to play down the DNA because it's just touch DNA, and I do understand that there's a difference between touch DNA and not touch DNA. Guys, hi Riddler, riddle me this. How does it so happen that 4 healthy, beautiful, young, vibrant college students end up slain in their own home, 4 of them? And the weapon used to do the job was a knife, a K-bar style knife. And in the bed where 2 of the victims were found, and partially underneath the body of one of the victims, there lies a knife sheath. It just happens to be the kind of knife sheath that is going to cover a K-bar style knife, which happens to be the kind of knife that is consistent with the type of injuries that these 4 beautiful, vibrant college students suffered. And on this knife sheath that is in the bed where 2 of the victims' bodies were found and is partially underneath one of the victims' bodies, the knife sheath that happens to fit a K-bar style knife that is consistent with the wounds. This knife sheath happens to have DNA on it. Single source male DNA, one contributor. It's a dude. Investigation happens. We eventually trace it back, as controversial as it may be, to Mr. Brian Kohberger. It also so happens that by his own admission, Brian Kohberger was out just taking a drive that night. And no, it's not a terrible thing. It's not bad. It's not abnormal to want to just go drive around at night or the daytime, whenever. People have cars, they drive, they like to have quiet time. It's all good. But that's happening too by his own admission. At that time, he was driving around, but not near 1122 King Road. And it also so happens that things were happening in the life of this person who was driving around right around the time of the murders. You know what, YouTube? I'm just going to say it. I can't say the M word anymore. The murders. And it just so happens that partially underneath one of the bodies of the victims, in a bed where two of the victims' bodies lie in the house where 4 young, vibrant college students were slain to death, there was a knife sheath that happened to match the knife that caused the wounds. And that knife sheath had single source DNA on it. And that DNA happened to be his. And that person had been experiencing recently some difficulties in his doctoral program at a nearby neighboring university, just 9 miles away, right across the border, 9 miles away, sister campus. And it just so happens that those troubles were large enough that this student didn't know it quite yet, but was going to find out soon, was going to be losing his position as a teaching assistant in the doctoral program, which essentially meant his program was going to shit. And it also just so happens that this person has had a very difficult relationship with people in general throughout his life. And many people do. It's hard. Life is hard. I'm not saying relationships should be easy and everyone should be a social butterfly. Are you here, social butterfly? But the nature of the difficulty of those relationships was often focused on women, to the point where several women have spoken up, several men have spoken up, several at least one administrator and one counselor and one teacher in his former high school have spoken up. And through that speaking up, we have learned that he was dismissed from his career and technical education program due to conflict with women and was placed in another one where there were no women. And an email has been produced that was of Brian Kohberger's own composition in response to his former high school, Pleasant Valley, or is it Pleasant Hill High School in just across the border from me here, Pennsylvania, Pocono Valley area, Pennsylvania, saying, okay, you know what, I'm going to leave this job. And I do acknowledge that if I didn't choose to resign, that I was going to be terminated for cause from this position, and that would reflect poorly on my permanent record. All of that was going down. And again, riddle me this. How does all of that make no sense in the minds of some people, maybe you, that it couldn't possibly be Brian Kohberger? All of those details, the facts that I just laid out, what that adds up to in the minds of some people, and I really believe y'all think this. I really, really do. And I'm trying to understand, and I would like to understand better. The sum of all of that addition is no way it could be Kohberger. What? I just don't get it. And additionally, as Lisa Baker says here in chat, I think they have more evidence than revealed. Yeah, I think so too. So there's that too. And again, I'm not saying it if you think that, maybe they've got the wrong guy or whatever, you're welcome here and you're welcome to voice your opinion. I personally just don't understand it. Stacy T says, I get that as touch DNA, and the other two DNA were not even looked at. Well, you know, as I know that we have mentioned here on this channel before, you know, and I don't know exactly why they weren't looked at, or actually we don't know that they were not looked at. Perhaps those other single source male DNA samples that were found in the house were investigated in the same fashion that the DNA sample that was found in the knife sheath was during that same time. It just so happens that the investigative genetic genealogy process that was being done using the single source male DNA on the knife sheath ended in what we know to be what has happened, that they found that Brian Kohberger's father was a match. Then we have the buccal swab and the 5.37 octillion% chance, greater chance that it's Brian Kohberger than anyone else in the world statistic. Perhaps they were doing that same process with those other DNA samples. We do not know. Nobody has said they were not processed whatsoever, period. In fact, we know that they were processed to some degree because we know that they were male, right? So that doesn't say to me not processed at all. But if you're going to process just one of those single source DNA samples from an unknown contributor in the house, wouldn't you go for the one that's on the knife sheath, partially underneath the slain body of one of the victims? Or would you go for the one that's on the floor in the living room? I'm just saying. Good point. Welcome. How you doing? No touch DNA from anybody else on the sheath other except for the suspect. Yeah, that's right. Great point. Angel D, I think you've said this before, says to Stacey, law enforcement had 4 male unidentified DNA samples. One on the glove outside, and that was found by Chris McDonough on November 22nd when he was checking out the scene. He has a great channel, The Interview Room. If you're not subscribed, definitely go check it out. 2 within the residence, and he's also a former homicide investigator. 2 within the residence, and 1 was on the button snap of the sheath under the victim, right? They can choose to only send 1 to IGG, right? Which do you choose? Yeah. Yeah. So Alpha Mega says the idea is some detective searched someone's garbage and got DNA to plant or something like that. And you know, that isn't lost on me, but okay, fine. Why? Why? And why Brian Kohberger? How do you pick him? Like, how do you pick him? The dude without the front license plate? I mean, what is the criteria? I mean, somebody take me down that road of logic. I mean, I'd like to travel with you. Yeah. Hey, R, how you doing? You do. Oh, hey guys, just to change topics a little bit. You might like find this to be really crazy, but you know what? Just before this live stream started, I found WSU Kim. Oh, yes, I did. And she was live and she is here and I found her. I just happened to randomly, I wasn't looking for her, trust me. I just happened to randomly click on just something random on you. I was like, what the heck is this? It was something about going down the Idaho rabbit hole. And I was like, oh, the boys, what's going on here? And oh gosh, there she was in chat. Ah. Right. Why? Hi, Mimi too. Why would anyone pick him? It doesn't make sense. Yeah. Hi, Cindy. But how are you doing? She is always around. Oh. But I do need to say channels that are still entertaining her narrative. Shame on you. I am shaming you. Shame on you. Well, according to my computer dude, she has about 38 different names. So interesting, huh? All right. Okay, so during the last live stream, we were discussing some information that I had talked about, which is according to the two dudes that I've been in touch with. Most of you are probably tired of hearing this, from the University of Idaho, Reith and Chapin's fraternity brothers, and have been nothing but reliable, and they've been vetted and fact checked, and it's all checked out. Say what you will, I'm telling you, that's what's up. You know, I had discussed with them what they believe, and they say is known among people within the university community, that is Bethany Funk's supposed air quote exculpatory evidence. Because oh boy, have I caught hell for calling it exculpatory evidence. Because what's exculpatory about that? No, I get it. I don't think anything's exculpatory about anything. I think that Brian Kohberger's defense team is playing a big old game of what the fuck whack-a-mole, because they don't know what else to do. So I don't think that there's truly anything exculpatory about the information that I had discussed Bethany Funk saw that evening. During the course of that conversation, we discussed the possibility that I'd entertained for the very first time ever, that perhaps this ladder, get a picture of it up here. This ladder that has been seen in many pictures outside of 1122 King Road could have possibly been beginning to entertain the idea involved in the assailant leaving the residence. Now, I had gleaned this information. I mean, I have heard people talking about this for a while and all over the place, but it was a little bit that actually Crime Circus had done that kind of turned my head and caused me to think about it a little more. Well, I need to know your opinion on this, guys. You are going to be the judge and jury. I need to know if we have debunked the perpetrator escaped out Xana Kernodle's bedroom window and down the ladder theory, which I'm starting to think is kind of a lame theory. And I do need to thank several channel viewers for helping me out with this and sending some information along that showed me, and I think it's going to show y'all. It couldn't have been the case. Probably not the case. Well, that's the question. Are we officially debunking it? I would love to officially debunk it, but I'm not going to make that decision on my own. Okay. Just want the picture of the ladder. Okay, here it is. All right. My son, I have to mute myself for a second, tell my son to chill out again. Like every time I get in a live stream. Can you guys hear him in the background? Be honest. Okay, I found it. Just one second. Okay, very good. Kelly, did you say that it was Ann Taylor? Defense requested a trial date of 11/12. I didn't say that. I don't think I did. Okay. All All right, so here is the said ladder. And this is from my last live stream. So if you see comments on here that aren't from tonight, that's why. That's obviously drip drop. Dude, where does this said ladder go? Oh my gosh. Oh gosh, it's just like comical. What the frick? Okay, sorry about that. COVID, I'm not very steady right now. Okay. All right, so there's a said ladder that was on the side of the house. Okay. So things that were pointed to in support of this ladder being used as an escape route for the perpetrator are as follows. Well, first of all, saying that, and I don't want to get into this discussion because I think it's been discussed, but that Ethan Chapin was blocking the doorway. So that would perhaps prevent a person who was inside Xana's room from getting back out into the hallway, causing him to have to flee out the window. I think that's kind of I can't really picture that myself, but as you may know, I've stood strongly by the fact that Ethan was found in the bed, and we went over all the reasons why during the last live stream. If you're interested in knowing, there's one particular reason I know that to be true, and again, I don't want to go down into that rabbit hole. But okay, fine. So let's say for some other reason, somebody had to go out the window. Well, that ladder is there, and it's been also noted that there is some coloring on that little ledge above the ladder right outside of Xana's room that could be blood. I'm saying the words, YouTube. I'm doing it. I don't care anymore. Just so silly. All right. So interesting, guys. I want you to look at this picture, okay? Because yes, we do see that underneath that window, which is indeed Xana's room, there is some discoloration, or so it appears. But guys, if we were to actually look at this entire photo across the length of the house, you know what you would find? You would find that there is that same discoloration on that ledge across the entire length of the house, and particularly on the other side of the house, just as there is on the side of the house that we can see now underneath Xana's window. So this is selective use of cherry-picked material to, basically prove a point that you want to make. All right. So when I realized that was the case, I was like, yeah, this is definitely not grooving with me now. That was kind of shady, sneaky, not cool. So what else is going on here, right? Let's see. Oh, wow. Angel D says, wow, another channel showed that patch with red staining. They totally must have photoshopped it. I assume they did. What channel was that? Oh. Hey, Crime Sleuth. Hi, Kelly. The screen is still on the window. So, okay, sorry. Okay, let me expand it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay, so if you weren't here in the very beginning, I just have to tell you, I'm just getting over COVID, so I'm a little like COVID minded. So thank you. All the reminders in the world would be wonderful. Oh, that's a shame. It was specifically read on Drip Drop's video. He said it was taken before the snow. I think it was photoshopped. Well, it must have been. All All right, I'm going to go back and get the original picture for you because there is an original picture. It's going to take me a moment. Make sure I come back to that. As I am doing that, I want you to watch a couple very short news clips. These news clips were from November 13th and the morning of November 14th, respectively. Now, I'm going to tell you, it's my experience at least, that it's been a little difficult to find footage that's more than like 3 seconds long, or even pictures or video that's actually from November 13th. So when we do find it, it's precious and we want to pay close attention. Second, I'm going to sauce it up. Yeah. All right. So welcome everybody who's just coming in. So glad you're here. Hey, USA Kiwi 1986. It's so rare I get to see in a live stream. Glad you're here. Hey, Utter, how's it going, girl? So glad to see you, sweetheart. Glad you're here. Lived or had a bedroom on the first ground floor of 1122 King Road here. And the other room in Mortensen actually lived on the second floor, the main floor, the floor that had all of the living space, including the living room, the kitchen with the sliding glass door that went out to a little patio, and Xana Kanoto's bedroom, as well as her own.
This hour, we are tracking breaking news. Just a moment ago, Moscow police.
This is from November 13th.
Confirmed 4 people were found dead in a home just steps away from the University of Idaho campus. Right now, we're continuing to work to get more details tonight. We know that students were ordered to shelter in place for a time this afternoon because of the scene's proximity to campus. That order has been lifted. Creme 2 crews traveled down to Moscow as reports came in earlier today. We go now to Janelle Finch, and she was one of the first reporters on scene to talk with police and with neighbors in the area. Janelle.
I've been here in Moscow on scene since about 3 p.m. Since I've been here, I've watched Moscow police cars come in and out of this neighborhood, where officials found 4 people dead. Neighbors say they began noticing police cars flood the area around 12 p.m. today. Moscow police say they responded to a call here on King Road for an unconscious individual. Upon further investigation, officials found 4 people dead. While police investigated the scene, the University of Idaho enacted a shelter-in-place alert as university officials reported a homicide near campus. As we've stated, that alert is lifted at this time. Neighbors say most people living in this area are a part of U of I Greek life or are students, but we do not know the identities of those involved or who lives at the residence. Officials are investigating. This is a very much developing situation, and we will continue to stay on the grounds until we have more information to report back to you. Until then, in Moscow, Janelle Finch, Creme 2 News.
Thank you so much, Janelle. And Creme 2 will stay on scene in Moscow throughout tonight, and we'll continue to bring you an update coming up during our 6 o'clock newscast. Thank you so much, Janelle.
So we turn to our Amanda Rowley, who has been at the crime scene all day today. She shared with us earlier that there has been a lot of activity there today. So Amanda, what have you seen today?
Well, at this hour, the crime scene remains very active. This is the most active I've seen in the last few days. Right behind me, we have the Idaho State Police forensics team inside the house. And just within the last hour, I'm not sure if you can see from this angle, but we do want to give some privacy. One of the top floor windows, the blinds have now been open. We can see from a different angle some of the forensics team coming in and out, some wearing plastic white suits, taking photos. Earlier in the day, I did see some flashes, what appeared to come from a camera from inside the home. They're spending all day here collecting evidence and reassessing the home here. Now, earlier today, this afternoon, I did notice the back sliding door to the house was open at one point today. Now we could see red markings stuck to the frame of the door. Idaho State Police spokesperson Aaron Snell told me this afternoon it was believed that the potential suspect came through the sliding glass door. But again, there appeared to be no signs of forced entry. Now he says, again, a forensic team is reassessing the house, looking for any potential additional evidence. In the meantime, he gave me an update on efforts to recreate a timeline of events and how the public will be a huge help in this investigation.
We understand the public's frustration about not being provided a lot of information. We are working to the best of our ability to actually provide as much as possible. We intend to come out and solicit information from the public if they are within certain areas that we believe are of interest for this investigation. And so hopefully today or early tomorrow, we will come out with a map where the victims were at specific times during the night and ultimately ending at their residence.
Now, we also confirmed today the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit is also assisting with the case. They do a variety of things, including crime analysis, create profiles of unknown offenders, offer investigative suggestions, and help with interview strategies there. And ISP is also expecting FBI command vehicle to arrive in Moscow to provide more workspace and additional resources for the investigation. Now, at this time, ISP says the roommates who were at the home during the attack but were not injured are cooperating with investigators, and right now they are not suspects. They are not considered persons of interest, but ISP says no one is being ruled out in this investigation. Tonight, Snell is insisting that no one has been cleared from this investigation. Giving a quick look back here at this, again, a very active scene with forensics team on scene. Now, just in the last hour, we did get an update from the Latah County Coroner's office. She weighed in a little bit more on that report that we received with the cause and manner of death. She can't speak right now to the defensive wounds. She doesn't know if the victims were asleep, and the time of death, she says, was sometime early in the morning. Again, they can't specify exactly what time of death, because Kathy Mabbutt says it was reported many hours later. And at this point, the coroner says there is no way of knowing who was attacked first. We'll be keeping an eye on this scene through the rest of the week. For now, we'll send it back to you, Mark and Whitney.
All right, Amanda, good information. Thank you very much.
Okay, so you got a little bit of perspective there, but what I want to show you right now, I actually found a picture that's even more clear than the one I was initially going to show you. So here it is. And it makes it very clear what is going on that little ledge that is speculated by some, or maybe photoshopped by others, to have blood stains on the ledge underneath Dana Kernodle's window. Fact or fiction? Ooh. Which one is it? Not that one. Oh, yes, this one. Yes, that one. That one. Okay. Wait, but I want the, sorry, I want to show you a big picture. Okay. All right, so here we go. So you can see, you know, above. So this is when they're taking out the bloodstained mattresses that unfortunately we looked at last week. Unfortunate that that happened at all. Trigger warning here, okay? So let me get rid of myself and the comments here, because if you're able to, if you have a big enough screen and you can clearly see that your spectacles, you're probably going to see the biggest way I can do it. On that ledge that is partially beneath Dana Kernodle's room, you can see what's going on. It's just precipitation. And guys, I can't remember who just said something about the berries and the leaves. Even though I just had you pinned. I live in upstate New York. Although it's all the way across the country, it's a very similar climate to Moscow, Idaho. We are starting to go through this trauma in my house right now. My son's birthday is October 19th. He always has a big, birthday shenanigans party. Partially celebrating Halloween too. And it drives me crazy because kids and adults alike track in this, what is it? What do I want to say? The red leaves and other things that are turning color as things do and fall in these climates outside. So there's dark orange and red stains all over, like my tan rugs, and it even stains my hardwood floors. So I am very clear by looking at the leaves that are on the ground, what is hanging on the trees, even right there, even the color of the branches, and the amount of moisture on that ledge and the color and the sheen, that is just moisture from precipitation and runoff from the roof mixed in with the beautiful colors of fall foliage, not body fluid. Who dat? Oh. Oh, hey, friend. Oh my gosh. Did you guys know that they found, I think they found the guy who killed Tupac Shakur. Oh my gosh. Were we all alive for that? Holy cow. Thought that was never going to happen. Okay. So, do you guys have any questions about that? I think it's pretty clear. Mm-hmm. Where do you see the color red on one side but not the other? And there is another picture that I was just looking for as well. It's from the New York Post. It's between January 6th and January 20th. I just can't look through all of them right now. I'm just getting a little dizzy from it. COVID. That you can clearly see it runs across the entire length of the ledge. So. Mm-hmm. You live near Buffalo. It's been really warm there. I don't live that far north or west. Got a little cold. It's getting a little warmer here now, but unseasonably so, right? Yeah. Yeah, so this is the ding, ding, ding. Truth Matters. How you doing? Welcome. Says there was no other touch DNA on the sheath apart from BK, and the sheath with said touch DNA found a foot away from the victims, well, partially underneath one of the victims. FYI, that matched his buccal swab. And the 5.37 octillion is times more likely to be from Brian Kohberger than anyone else on Earth or anyone else that's ever walked the face of the Earth, because not that many human beings have ever walked the face of the Earth. It's an unimaginably ginormous octillionist number. I'm done with you. You're just being rude. Who, me? Or if talking to somebody else? Sorry if that impression has come across. Let's see. Crime Sleuth and my friend says the same red colorish areas are in the back along the rail of the balcony in a few spots. I personally think it was berries from the tree blown over there. Yeah, berries and I just can't think of the word right now because, oh my gosh. Whatever makes the leaves turn color in the fall. I know it's like chlorophyll and all of that, but there's a specific word I'm trying to think about. I don't know. COVID brain. No, nobody's being rude. Don't worry about it. There's like I've been trolled like crazy recently. Hi, Desired. I'm so glad you're here. Let's see. I personally think Hitler did this. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Does anyone want to come up and say anything, by the way? I'm going to just open up panel if you'd like to come up. I'm struggling with my words and my sniffles and COVID. Yuck. Thank you, Desiree. Yeah, so I guess the question is, oh, and then also, my goodness, there's more to discuss on this. Oh, good. Crime sleuthing's coming up. Save my girl, and I also want to hear what you have to say.
Hi, how are you doing?
Great. How are you doing, sweetheart? It's great to have you on. How's it going?
I'm doing good, doing all right.
Awesome. So what are you thinking? What's on your mind, friend?
So are you wanting my opinion just of this theory that we want to
Well,
know?
let's start there, and then let's start there.
Okay. Yeah, I just think it's that word that you're trying to think of. Somebody in chat said pigmentation.
Oh yeah, there we go. That works.
Is that it?
Maybe that's what I was going for. But thank you. That's perfect. Yes. Perfect.
Something like that. Yeah, it's all good.
Oh, I just feel like a dodo. Yeah, awesome. Yeah. So that's what you think it is.
I just think it's something like that. I mean, well, that tree, yeah, like the leaves are a reddish color. So, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like
there's something called wind.
Exactly. And this to me truly is an example of a rabbit hole that I almost got sucked into, by the way, but I'm blaming it on oncoming COVID. This to me is an example of a non-issue being turned into a hook, line, and sinker for some people if they can get the right fishies to swimming by. You know what I mean?
Yes. This is a result of running out of stuff to talk about. So they have to go back and find new weird things to just talk about, you know?
Yeah, but I think I'm just gonna have to be honest. It's more than finding weird things to talk about, because I think like everybody has to do this. Finding weird things to talk about, and then also taking your own liberties and having the moral compass that's going to allow you to do so.
Exactly. Oh yeah, I've come up with a few of theories, and even made videos, and then went, nah, I'm not gonna post that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes
Never
that's like in
mind.
the process. Right. Sometimes in the process, it's just like, nope.
Exactly.
Oh gosh.
If I had all those hours back.
I know, seriously. So what else are you thinking about? You got something else? You want to just
Well, I mean, about the scene that we're looking at, I think it was pretty deplorable, honestly, how they handled all of that and moving them, knowing that people were standing there with cameras. I mean, come on, they could have brought him out in, like a blue tarp or something. A little more dignified.
I can't believe it was I truly cannot believe it was handled that way. I really can't. It was
bad.
It was really bad.
So,
yeah. I fully, it was bad. It was bad.
That was really sad to see. Plastered everywhere. Could you imagine if you were the family?
No, I absolutely could not. No, no, that's freaking terrible. My gosh.
But also, like I had said in chat a little bit ago, I was like, well, the window screen is right there. It's still on. It's intact. So are they trying to say that, or did they not really think about this part? Like, so this person would have had to stop, take off the screen from the inside, pop it out,
yeah,
and then get out, and then what? Put the screen back without leaving any blood. Sorry, I don't know if you want that word, but
it's fine.
But leave it all right there on the ledge, and then not get any on the ladder. There was nothing on the ladder.
That's right. I mean, it truly is basically absurd. Now, here's another thing. So if we're looking at, let's see if I can. find this in. I want to take a look at the drone footage. Come on. The video is in bokeh. It's a little too much for me to comprehend right now, but cool. When you take a look at the drone footage and some other perspective, you also really see, like, first of all, how rain it would be, and also what you would be jumping out of that window onto the ladder and onto the ground like freaking Indiana Jones, really exposing yourself right into the direct line of sight of at least 7 properties.
Yeah.
It would just be a horrendous idea. Obviously, plenty of horrendous ideas took shape in this tragedy, but this would just be really fucking stupid. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah, I think the whole theory of which is completely false in my opinion, that people are saying that Ethan was inside the door blocking this person in the room. I mean, come on. If you just unalived 4 people, I don't think you're going to go, oh, he looks really comfortable leaning up against that door. I think I'm just going to go find another way out.
Right.
Wouldn't you just knock him out of the way if you're that
Right.
vile of a human being?
And an argument that has been put forth is that, he was like 230 pounds. He was really heavy. I'm sorry. If you just committed 4 murders like that, your adrenaline is going to be pumping to the point where if you were able to do what you just done, you're going to be able
Pushing
to
somebody out
slide
of the way
that
of the
way
door.
along a hardwood, kind of like, I don't know, what is that? That like
Yes, hardwood, so you could have just slid them right out of the way.
It really truly is absurd. So we're going to call this a debunk. I'm going for it.
It's a debunk. I debunked it like within an hour personally because I was like, come on, that doesn't make any sense. Dylan said she saw him going into the kitchen toward the back door. And I think that other theory might have had another kind of, I don't know, for lack of word here, motive to introduce the concept of maybe another person involved. Or a different person involved. Maybe he didn't do it. Maybe he was just
can you say that again? I'm sorry. Say that again.
Door. They've kind of morphed it, some of these people, into, well, if it was somebody going out the bedroom window, then maybe he didn't even do it.
Right.
Maybe he was somebody else visiting and the real perp was up in the bedroom. Come on.
Right. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It just truly is silliness. Silliness all around. Silliness all around. Here, I'm going to bring this video into the stream here so we can just kind of take a look at the perspective, because every now and then I do like to beat a dead horse. So take a look at the perspective of what somebody would be jumping out of the window off of the 10-foot ledge onto a little bigger than a step ladder in an Indiana Jones fashion, and then onto the pavement into like the perfect purview of all of these houses.
Yeah.
I'm just going to play this a little bit. And
okay.
Without volume. Freaking hate COVID. Goodbye.
Oh, hey, girl. I just looked at the time. My hubby's coming to bed. I hear him coming down the hallway. I know that sound when the recliner goes pop at this time.
Oh,
yeah, that sound. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
gotta go.
Thank you so much for coming up. It's great to see you.
Absolutely.
Great to hear from you. Yeah, no, and
Absolutely.
please have a good night.
I'll
Thanks
still
for
be
coming up. I
listening with my
appreciate it.
earbuds, girl, when I go to bed. So,
Awesome.
all right.
Sounds
I will
good.
see
Hey,
you guys.
hubby.
See you later.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
All right. Bye, honey.
Have a good night. Bye.
So, have a good night, sweetheart. Everyone, crime sleuthing, go check out our channel if you haven't yet. So what we're looking at here is, if he was, jumping off that ledge onto that lame ass ladder that's just about as high as the top of that police vehicle there, all these houses over there, and you can't even see the other houses that are on that side, 1122 King Road. It's just truly silliness. See, there's that ladder right there. That ladder, you see that infamous ladder propped up against the house? Not even as tall as the top of the police vehicle. I mean, this truly is just silly. Now, if you came out of Xanda's window there onto that ledge, you may as well, just do a, like a Bruce Lee tuck and fold off that thing and hope that you land well. After what you've done, I'm sure that you can, rather than to try to like gingerly step down about 3 feet, 2 3/4 feet onto that ladder and then step down the ladder. I'm so sorry. That is completely not conducive to. I just stabbed 4 people to death. Now I'm going to gingerly lower myself off the 10-foot ledge and onto the step ladder. I mean, guys, no, it's debunked. Didn't happen. Oh boy. Well, Desired, she didn't see him walk out the sliding glass door, and I'm only saying this because, and I'm so happy you're here, Desired. I haven't seen you live in so long. This is such a super treat. It says that he walked past her. The figure clad in black, as described, bushy eyebrows, walked past her and towards the sliding glass door. So that is specifically what is said in the PCA. Yeah. Oh, hey, thanks, Kathy L. Yeah, I think there is some footage of when they did move the remains. I mean, not footage of it, but how they concealed it. I believe, but I'm definitely not tackling that tonight. Oh, that is a very sad thought, Angel. I can't even say that. Okay, 6 foot. I'm sorry, I was being a little silly. Okay, 6 foot ladder, 6 foot ladder. Thank you. MK says, I challenge anyone who came up with a ladder theory to try getting up on that roof from that rickety position, then back down in the dark. Hell yeah. A wet, slippery ladder. Right. Yep. Oh gosh. Tired single man. How's it going? Welcome. How are you doing? Do you think he's met them before? You mean Kohberger and the victims? I think he's met them. Have they met him? I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not sure about any of that, but it's a good question. That is a good question. Good question indeed. Good night, Pamela. Whew. All right. Can't believe I saw WSU Kim live. That's amazing. Yeah, so this channel, Creme 2, great source of local, accurate, fact-checked, solid, good information. Oops. Listen to the stream here. So again, the beginning footage is from November 13th, then November 14th. I'm just going to play for a couple minutes because I got to go get a drink and can't breathe right now. COVID's the worst. I guess it's not the worst. It's not fun though. Yeah. Awesome point, Donna, about the camera would have picked up the sound of him coming down on the ladder. Absolutely, I agree with that. Ding, 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 debunked.
I've been here in Moscow on scene since about 3 p.m. Since I've been here, I've watched Moscow police cars come in and out of this neighborhood where officials found 4 people dead. Neighbors say they began.
Sorry, I just have to answer this question. I want to know what you guys think too. Riddler asked, do you think that BK had been in an 1122 house before? Abso-fucking-lutely. What do y'all think? Great question. Do y'all think that he'd been in the house before? If you think he'd been in the house before, put a 1 in chat. If you think no, he had not, please put a 2. So we can just get like maybe a little quick view on that.
And noticing police cars flood the area around 12 p.m. today. Moscow police say they responded to a call here on King Road for an unconscious individual. Upon further investigation, officials found 4 people dead. While police investigated the scene, the University of Idaho enacted a shelter-in-place alert as university officials reported a homicide near campus. As we've stated, that alert is lifted at this time. Neighbors say most people living in this area are a part of U of I Greek life or are students, but we do not know the identities of those involved or who lives at the residence. Officials are investigating. This is a very much developing situation, and we will continue to stay on the grounds until we have more information to report back to you. Until then, in Moscow, Janelle Finch, Krem 2 News.
Now, I just want to note one thing in that last video there. Now, I'm not going to get to talking about this evening. Originally, I was going to, but I have a lot to say about this. I put together material for you guys. Very interested in the actual point of perpetrator entry. I'm not so sure with sliding glass door. I'm just really not, for a number of reasons. But one is, and this is just a certain perspective I want you to see here because you can only get this perspective.
Officials are investigating. This is a very much officials are investigating. This is a very much developing situation, and
all right. So if you look behind her, if we're looking at her, it's on. Okay, it's on our left side, so it's her right shoulder, okay? So if you're following the corner of her mic up over her shoulder here, I'm pointing with the arrow, you see there's like, it looks like almost 2 rows of lights right by her head. Those are the lights that are strung up around the patio area outside the sliding glass doors at 1122 King Road. I have a number of pictures from several different perspectives of what these lights look like at night, and they are always on. And
we will continue to stay on.
Whatever perspective you're looking at the house from, these lights are ablaze. They are bright. So if somebody is going to be breaking or going into that house with the intention of murdering one person or for whatever his intentions were, they were not good. They were totally fucking evil. Are you going to be like, come to the light, come to the light, come to the light? You know, like seriously, are you going to go subject yourself to standing under what essentially is a giant spotlight right in the center of that fishbowl neighborhood where you are in direct line of sight of at least 7 houses, and then you're going to go in 1122 King Road to murder people, someone? It just seems so, you know, there were a lot of dumb things done, but that is like, oh man, that is just, that goes against probably all, you know, senses and survival instinct, really.
On the grounds until we have more information to report back to you. Until then, in Moscow, Janelle Finch, Krem 2 News.
So police still have this house here near University of Idaho taped off. This right here is where officers found 4 bodies yesterday. We now know the names of those 4 students. They were 20-year-old Ethan Chapin from Conway, Washington, 21-year-old Madison Mogan from Coeur d'Alene, 21-year-old Kaylee Goncalves from Rathdrum, Idaho, and 20-year-old Dana Kernodle from Avondale, Arizona, and they were all University of Idaho students. Here's a breakdown of the timeline from what we know so far. Around 1 p.m., we heard reports of a homicide investigation.
Very interesting. I think he was at the house at the Halloween party. Very interesting. Very interesting. And that might be one that he'd be really interested in. And did you see how everybody was dressed at Halloween? You will talk about, that's going to be a video. Thank you for the idea. Really interesting thought there, JD.
Near the college campus. An hour later, the school put out an alert on social media. It said Moscow PD is investigating a homicide on King Road. They asked the community to stay away from the area and shelter in place as a precaution. Around 3 in the afternoon, Krem 2 arrived in Moscow. Neighbors said most people living in this area are a part of U of I Greek life or students. At around 5 in the evening, the Moscow Police Department confirmed they had found 4 people dead, but it wasn't until late last night that they confirmed those victims were students. The university also said Moscow police do not think there's any active threat at the moment as they continue their investigation. Classes for University of Idaho students are canceled for the day. They say they will resume classes tomorrow. In Moscow, Nicole Hernandez, KREM 2 News.
Moscow police responded to King Road for a call about an unconscious person Sunday afternoon. When police arrived, they found the 4 deceased students inside the home. This morning, the city of Moscow and University of Idaho identified all 4 U of I students. Freshman Ethan Chapin of Conway was a member. Zana Kernodle, a junior from Post Falls, was a member of the Pi Beta Phi sorority. Madison Mogan was a senior from Coeur d'Alene, and Kaylee Goncalves was a senior from.
This is a pretty traumatic situation for our campus community.
Dean of Students Blaine Eccles says news of the suspected homicide shocked the Vandal community.
This is rocking their world. Many of them come from small communities where things like this have never happened.
He says drop-in counseling is available to students at any time. But he recognizes that many students have already returned home early for the upcoming holiday.
People need.
And not that he's not saying isn't what he's saying is important. I want to address this question. Chris 10, does anyone remember Olivia and Christy saw footage of the girls coming home from one of the cameras that was given to them before police took them? I could be wrong. I actually made a video on that. And you know, I did believe that to absolutely be the case. And maybe that was the case. In another more recent video, I heard Olivia saying that or was it Christy? I actually don't remember, but I do have the video in production too somewhere, so I can clarify it for you. They actually spoke with the person who gave Kaylee and Maddie a ride home, and that person was able to tell them that they dropped them off at 1:56, and then there was other corroborating evidence. So it wasn't necessarily a super clear camera shot, although there is a camera in the neighborhood that is pretty has pretty good resolution for a security camera. But he was able to tell them that because he had to record all of the rides that he was giving that night in his phone because he was a fraternity pledge. So yes, combination of all that. Right?
To navigate through this situation in the way that best suits them. If students need to go home, be closer with their families, want to return home, I support them doing that. We're going to support them in doing that.
Support for U of I goes beyond the university campus. Businesses throughout the city of Moscow are offering prayers and thoughts for the Vandal community. And because Moscow is a tight-knit community with a strong relationship with the university, this response isn't a surprise to Mayor Art Bettage.
I feel very badly for them, and not just for the victims, but everybody else who's a friend and associate with those people.
He told me he was shocked by the news about what he's calling a senseless act of violence.
This is stuff that shouldn't happen, especially in a small, quiet town like Moscow is, where we're heavily involved with the university. And these are things that affect not just town, but the university, the students, lends everybody to a sense of insecurity about what's going on here and why. And it's a very tragic and sad situation all around.
In speaking with Kaylee Goncalves' mother and sister, they tell me Kaylee was a strong and passionate go-getter. She even already had a job lined up in the tech industry after graduation. Kaylee was one of 5 Goncalves' children. She graduated from Lake City High School, the same school as Maddie Moog as well. Kaylee's oldest sister, Olivia, shared a statement on behalf of the Goncalves family. It reads in part, Kaylee was, is, and always will be our defender and protector. She is tough and fair, the ultimate middle child. She did absolutely everything she set her mind to. She didn't hold back on love, fights, or life. Kaylee was the ultimate go-getter and constantly wanted an adventure. We still have a lot of questions about what happened. Also looking for answers is Kaylee's sister, Olivia, asked the public to stop spreading rumors about what happened and wait for the facts from police. We are continuing to ask our own questions and will continue to bring you
so
updates
let's take
as we
this
get them.
break. DB, you asked what video that information is in on the camera. It's only a 7-minute video. I'm not going to play all of it. I'm just going to play about half of it. And here it is, because we're talking about it and it's going to help to complete the information. I like to have material on everything we might talk about. I'm a little obsessive compulsive about it. All right. Seriously though. All right. Oh, this is a different fun little intro. Maybe we'll have to watch it.
The true crime community wonders if investigators, if the prosecution for the case against Brian Kohberger have something solid against him that is going to prove beyond a shadow of all reasonable doubt to the jury of his peers that he is guilty or not of the crimes that he is accused of. We wonder if that solid evidence does in fact exist. And if it does, what would it be? It certainly could be something like security camera footage placing Brian Kohberger at the scene of the crime, walking into the residence or leaving the residence. Does that security camera footage exist? As we ask this question, we might get some hints from what Kelly Goncalves' sister Olivia has had to say. As many of you know, she has been a super sister and a super sleuth herself, as she has found so many details regarding Kaylee's tragic death and the death of Madison Mogan, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle as well. We thank Olivia for all that she's done, and we hope that the family can eventually find peace. Let's listen to a few excerpts over time of Olivia Goncalves speaking about what they did or did not know about this terrible crime and how they found out this information related to possible ring camera or security camera footage.
I just want to stop for a minute and just emphasize that point. Seriously, Olivia Goncalves is a freaking hero, and the Goncalves family and all of the families, our hearts go out to them. And that is a reason truly why we keep going over this case is, you know, justice will be done with this channel or without, I pray, or any channel with or without any channel. But it is important that we all give a damn about justice being served for the victims. And, you know, we better care about the hearts and the well-being and the souls and spirits of every person in their family, because my God, can you even imagine? Don't try to do it, Angel D. I was reading what you were writing about.
My name is Christy Goncalves, KristigoncaLves.
Yeah, I'm Olivia Stevenson, ALIVEA STEVENSON. Goncalves is my maiden name. I'm married.
Everybody good?
Which one?
Oh, there you go. Okay.
You gotta get it right. Don't get mine.
I think we got it on the pickup. Good. Okay, so just first off, The map that just came out from police, it gives a little bit of a timeline of where they may have been that night. Does that map mesh up with the timeline that you've been putting together?
Yeah, I'd say it's very close. I'd say if you have any closer details to kind of hone in, 145 could be very vague. Maybe it's closer to, 150. Let us know if you have anything concrete, because right now concrete's what we can go off.
So you heard Kelly's sister right there. Concrete is what we can go off of. And she did a very good job of finding concrete information. So we know that what she is looking for, what she is going to verify that timeline by, is going to be concrete information. What could be more concrete than video footage of actually seeing what was going on in real time at the actual moment in question?
In terms of the details, you said it's close. Does that?
I do, but right now we're still trusting authorities that, it's not going to be 20 minutes here, 15 minutes here that's breaking this. But yeah, I implore everyone, if they know something different, bring it to the police, because if they want to tighten up that timeline, we stand with that.
It seems like there's this very big gap when it comes to Ethan and Xana. Do you know where they might have been?
I don't, unfortunately. I know nothing about them.
We have no idea where they were, but we do have a pretty tight timeline on Kaylee and Maddie, and it is close to what they are posting, but it is a difference, and that difference actually could be huge. I mean, it could be, it could not be, but 145, 159. So there is, and we have corroborated with my phone records, Kaylee's phone records, the driver that was driving them around.
Yeah, so you
really
have,
concrete.
You have pulled video seeing the Uber driver dropping them off. You've checked your phone records. You know the timestamps, what time they got home.
So just in case you were sleeping there, let's hear that again.
Yeah, so you
really
have,
concrete.
You have pulled video seeing the Uber driver dropping them off. You've checked your phone records. You know timestamps, what time they got home.
Your family's been frustrated with the investigation so far, understandably so. Here we are a week and a half out, and really not much information about this. Does not appear to be a suspect. Tell me, Olivia, what specifically you've been frustrated with, because you did your own work here. For instance, you found video of the food truck, for example, where two of the victims were seen the same night as this killing.
Yeah, I would say, I think that obviously this is extremely personal for us, and we treated it that way from the very get-go. I know how valuable those first 48, 72 hours are. And I can only hope that the police also know how valuable that is, and that they have a lot of information there that just isn't public right now. I will say the one lingering frustration I have is the timeline. I know it's semantics, but my sisters got home at 1:56. It wasn't 1:45. I know it might not seem significant, but when we're looking for camera, when we're looking for dash footage, when we're looking for any of those things, I do feel it is valuable, and they did get home at 1:56. It was not 1:45.
Olivia's absolute confidence that Kaylee and Maddie arrived back home at 1:56 did not simply come from adding up the time it would take to call a ride, get the ride from the grub truck to their house, walk from the car into the house. Remember, she said concrete is what we are going to go off of. So her confidence in the fact that they arrived home at 1:56 tells us that she has seen something concrete that lets her know they got home at 1:56. If there was some kind of security camera or ring camera footage that was close enough to the entrance of the residence that allowed Olivia to know that they got home at 1:56 with such confidence, what other events did that camera pick up?
Olivia Goncalves isn't waiting for police. She's tracking down her own leads to find her sister Kaylee's killer.
We're not getting any answers, and we're not going to settle for that. Hi.
It was Olivia who found the potentially crucial video of her sister and Madison Mogan at a food truck just hours before they were murdered. She also tracked down their Uber driver.
I found neighbors' ring camera footage so that I can verify that the Uber driver took her home.
And I mean, there you have it, proof positive that she has seen ring camera footage close.
So let me just let me clarify that, because with what I was just chatting with you about DB, it's just going to be easier to speak this. The 11:12 1112, yeah. Security camera would not be able to specifically see the driver bringing them home and dropping them off right in front of 1122 King Road because the camera is facing in the other direction. However, that camera would see that car driving by about 20 to 30 seconds before they were let out of the car. You see what I'm saying? And apparently there is at least one other neighborhood security camera that is key in the case in general. I don't know about as far as Olivia verifying when the driver dropped them off. Does that make sense?
Enough to the house for her to feel satisfied that the driver took her home, knowing that she said concrete is all that we can go off of, and that she was such an absolute efficient and precise investigator in the tragic homicide of her very own.
Yeah, I mean, serious props to Olivia. Hot damn, right? I mean, that is like, I don't know, she's amazing. And let's see, Mystical Bandit, hey, how are you doing? Says, did the video show her walking Murphy too? That's something I'm not clear on. I know that, she talks about knowing that they walked Murphy. I know that for myself, that was one of those facts, air quotes, that I had to check myself on. I was thinking that, oh yeah, there is a video of them walking Murphy. But then for myself, I realized that no, I had just heard her saying that she knew that they walked Murphy. So to this day, I'm still not clear on the answer to your question. Does that make sense? Does anyone else have any more clarity? Well, hey, thank you, Christy. Love your interest. Thank you. I really like making them. Thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, the real sister love is there. Absolutely. My gosh. Yeah. Anne Rolbus. Oh, yeah, she is a great true crime writer. Yes, exactly. DB, you got that right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not clear on Murphy. I'm just not. Wondering if the dark blue house that we often see on their TikTok had cams, especially if the blue house was also a party house. The dark blue one. So not 11, 12. Oh, I know. Then there's another one that's kind of like, yeah, I do not know about that. I hope it does. Riddler says, why didn't the cops get it right? I would love to know more about what you're thinking there, Riddler. Could you please expand on your question? And last chance, if anyone does want to come up and speak your mind, there's a link to the panel. And you're welcome to do so. Riddler, that could be you. Right, exactly. DB tape. I go through this like same kind of conversation in my own mind. So in regards to them walking Murphy, DB tape says either she knew from seeing it on camera or she knew they would have to walk him. Quite a big difference. Exactly. Oh, the time the girls got home. Why didn't they get it right? I know, right? Yeah. I tried to answer that question, giving them grace and excuses, and I'm sure that grace is due, and the excuses, some are legitimate, but still, it's so critical. It is a little confusing, Mm-hmm. If you look at early photos at the back of 1112, you see the camera on the front and back of the house. Then photos show both of them gone. Yes, law enforcement took them straight away. I want to know all the cameras and times that saw him in the 3-ish time frame when he was in the area. I think the first time he was in the immediate area of 1122 King Road was at 3:29. And I can even tell you where, but I can't remember the name of the road. It connects to King. COVID brain. But I don't know specifically the camera. I would love to know all that information as well. Riddler's coming on up. Hey, Riddler, how you doing, friend? What's going on?
Fine. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling okay. I've definitely felt better, but it could be worse. Thanks for asking.
I'll keep you in my prayers.
Oh, thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate it.
Well, this case would the case would be so much easier for us if the police were more professional.
Yeah.
Here's a young lady. I don't know how many miles away she lives, but she drives to the scene and she does her own investigation. She's not even a police officer, and she gets it right to the point.
Right. I know. She lives like, I think the Goncalveses live, it's like 80 some miles away.
And I could see why they got a tort against
Yeah.
those 5 agencies or however many they have.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they want to make sure that they have their placeholder to, take whatever kind of, civil action they might deem reasonable if the time comes. And I could imagine that time could come.
And I don't know, the PCA, and I understand it's just there for an arrest. I've talked with former prosecutors and retired defense, and they all agree there's not enough there for a jury to convict. They would be worried if that's all they had. So
right.
They would be very worried, and there's nothing in there that they could get a conviction with. But it's just things like allegedly the perpetrator entered at 4 and left at 4:25. And I read that on one of the PCAs. But yet you see him parking the car in another paragraph at 4, I don't know what it was, 06.
Right.
And he's speeding away at 4:20.
That's right. Yep.
And I've served on juries before. They will get confused on things like that. That will stay in their mind. They got to get this cleaned up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. My God. I freaking hope that they're getting that kind of stuff cleaned up in preparation for trial because, those inconsistencies cannot happen because inconsistencies equal what? Reasonable doubt.
Right, and it's got to be, and they're going to hammer it and hammer it and hammer it home about beyond reasonable doubt.
That's right. Right, and just come up with one catchy phrase like, if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit, and it's all done.
Now, I was also thinking, let's say, for example, allegedly that Mr. BK did commit these crimes, but he's not using a K-bar, and he's going to throw that sheath down there to throw them off. Because there's plenty of other knives you can use to do this. I mean, the K-bar knife was built in the 1940s.
Okay.
And it was used for World War II. So maybe, now, I don't know how they're going to tell exactly which knife was used, but they've got his DNA inside the residence is what they have to have. It would be much better if his DNA was on a doorknob, a light switch, a door handle, something like this, a sliding glass.
Right.
That would make, but this did not belong to the house. So now the defense is going to come up with a way, if they don't get it thrown out, they're going to try to say that somebody else, this was something he touched at a store or that he returned at a hardware store that he purchased this from and somebody else bought it. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of things that could be said. I think it's going to be, I wonder, certainly don't think they're ever going to find the murder weapon. It's somewhere in that crazy part of rural Washington, Idaho that, of course, I did a video on, that is a perfect place to, ditch, anything. And gosh, I lost my train of thought. Yeah. But,
just look how long it took our military forces to find somebody like Osama bin Laden, Look how long it took law enforcement to find the Unabomber. Ted Kaczynski, I think was his name. I'm not sure on that. But so you can imagine how hard it's going to be to find a knife.
Oh,
The thing could be buried anywhere.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
the only thing is, and I draw parallels to it, was with the Gainesville Ripper. The wrong guy was arrested. They put him on a charge of hitting his grandmother because they already took it to a grand
Gainesville,
jury.
did you say?
It was the Gainesville Ripper case.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And they had a guy locked up for 10 months. Meanwhile, Danny Rawlings has already left Gainesville. He's gone somewhere else to commit crimes.
Oh my gosh.
Right. And now he used a K-bar and he went through sliding glass doors. And one of his victims was an 8-year-old boy.
Oh my gosh.
Right. And the K-bar is the perfect weapon. It means business. I hate putting it this way, but it's really designed for one thing only.
Absolutely it is. And don't say the K word.
I won't. I know. I know. I'm a veteran at this now. After 10 months. I said, what are these people? Are they nuts?
I know. Isn't it crazy?
Isn't it that we can't?
I'm already used to it.
I worked for TBS and there was about 100 words we were not allowed to say.
Yeah. No.
I worked for Turner Network and we couldn't say, like I said, there's over 100 words we couldn't say on television. Not that I had to worry about it, but some other people had to.
Yeah, it's just silliness, though. I mean, we're talking about true crime. I just think it just feels disrespectful to not be able to use the appropriate language.
Well, I understand it, but then I listen to a song and it's got all these words in them, and they don't care. The songs can play on here. But I'm just trying. I just hope everybody stays level-headed with this instead of let the cards play out.
Yes.
And, watch the documents release. I find it hard to take sides. So far, I can't convict him if I was on the jury right now. I just can't convict him. But when this first happened, I was 99% with the prosecution. And I've always have been that way. I've always leaned with the prosecution. But I'm starting to move further away towards the defense. But the prosecution will come back later and start laying more things out.
I think. Go ahead. Yeah, I think, in my opinion, I feel like that's like exactly it. Like, there are times when I feel like, oh, I'm sailing out all out in the dark, along the ocean, all by myself here. But, then I think, well, we know that there is this gag order and I'm not supposed to know anything's going on or that they're doing or that's really evidence, right? So it's hard to take a temperature of
and we don't know
how the case is doing as far as progressing towards a conviction.
Right, and from the naked eye, we do not see footprints going out that back patio. But that doesn't mean they're not there and they didn't gather them. And there's just so many things we don't know. Now there was a case in my hometown that's similar to this where there was a unaliving and the victim, there was no footprints exiting out and there was plenty of red stuff all around. Yeah, so you got a picture of a car there.
Yep, just for you.
Yeah, now see, I would have, my
Didn't
weapon
mean
of
to do
choice
that, but I was like,
probably,
look, there it is.
right. See, he could have used a Glock knife, and I just sharpened with a knife while I was listening to you talk. I was sharpening my Glock knife, and that's another weapon that could have done. There's tons of weapons that could have done what he did with, but this is the same type knife that Danny Rawlings used in the Gainesville Ripper case, and he used it in Shreveport. And they
it's
also
called
said
Ripper for a reason.
well, his was more grotesque than what we're going through here, way more.
Mm-hmm.
And it was terrible what happened down there. But there's just so many different knives that he could have used and why he used that one. But see, Ted Bundy also had purchased ones. I'm not saying Ted Bundy used one, most of his were clubbing over the head. He just takes something and hit you over the head with it and then unalive you that way. But this is the night that seems to be the choice of these essays.
Wow. That's wild. Well, from what I understand, I can see why that would be the case.
Right. And I have a K-bar myself. Mine is solid black. And it's a good weapon. It'll do. I usually use knives for like when I go camping out. I want to be able to split wood with it. I want one knife that can do everything, or try to do as much. Now I want to ask you about the Amazon deal. Did he or did he not purchase a K-bar from Amazon? That's what I'm asking. Did he or did he not? I know the state has asked.
I don't know. I'm actually trying to get a video up on that right now because I really wasn't clear on this. I'm not even totally clear on the latest news because it happened. Go ahead.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. When you read the documents, it just comes back and gives you the Amazon number. It doesn't say Amazon responded. Yes, he bought one on this such and such date, and it was delivered to this address. I know they asked Amazon, did he purchase one, but we haven't heard anything. Has he purchased one or not? And there's so many scenarios I've worked in my head. I've worked out where he dropped someone off and then sped away while the bad guys were there, and they used his knife. I don't know. Yeah, and it was his knife that he let someone use, and which would make him an accessory to the crime. But I don't know. Right. And I'm worried. The other part I'm worried about was the defense never got to interview Bethany. And okay, I understand that's the law. That's what you got to work with. There was a grand jury that kills the deal. I should say that ruins the deal. I'm sorry. That ruins the deal. That ruins the deal with the defense going to Reno or wherever city it was in Nevada they were going to meet up at and interview her. Now, someone told me she just got engaged. Have you heard that?
Yeah. Well, yeah. This is what apparently she just got engaged. There's pictures to prove it. Yeah. I haven't put them up because I don't feel like I need to cross that line of invading her privacy, but there are pictures, and her fiance is really freaking tall and skinny. So,
well, I
firmly believe that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I wish her the best too. But with, as far as, the defense, that whole shenanigans about, Bethany Funk has exculpatory evidence wanting to interview her. Listen, I feel, and I could be wrong, but in, my mind, I feel pretty firm about this. I don't think they ever truly thought that she had any material exculpatory evidence that was going to go, make leaps and bounds and, getting him off the hook here. I think that the defense called that all out onto the carpet because she was the state's wild card. And I think that they knew that she heard and saw things that might be really incriminating to Brian Kohberger. And I think the defense knew that what Bethany heard and saw was going to it was going to shape his alibi or not. Notice that the defense did not put out an alibi, did not put out an alibi. They're holding off on the alibi. They're holding off. I think the one thing that they were waiting for was to find out what it was that Bethany Funk heard and saw. What was her experience? What did she witness? So then they could put forth an alibi. Because in my opinion, Brian Kohberger does not have an alibi. And in my opinion, any alibi that they're going to put forth is bullshit. And without knowing what Bethany Funk is going to say, they don't know how to shape their bullshit.
Well, and I've seen the defense make two big mistakes, and I lost confidence in the defense. I've lost confidence in the police work. I understand it's a small town, inexperienced type folks with this type of case. Thank goodness they had assistants there. How many FBI agents were there? 25 to 50 other agents that were helping them out. So that's the good news, and I hope they find that real guy who did this.
25 initially, yeah.
Yeah. So I hope they find the real guy that did this. But I don't want to jump to conclusions. I just tell people, be patient, let this work itself out. I don't know who it favors the longer it goes. I can see both sides being favored. I don't know when the trial will start. I'm thinking January, maybe December.
I'm thinking mid to late 2025. I'm sorry, I'm thinking mid to late 2024, possibly 2025. That's just where my bets are, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it could go that long.
I would like it to happen today.
I'm going to jump back down and listen to you. You're wonderful. Thank you so much. You educate us out here. I learned something new when I watch your channel. And I hope everybody else will have a positive attitude. I hope you're feeling better. And do you live? I don't know if you live in the Northeast, but I know they're getting some bad rain and flooding.
Yeah, no, I do live in the Northeast. Yeah, nothing like this, like New York City is getting right now. But yeah, it is. The weather is like a little bit funky too, so that doesn't help things. But yeah. Well, thank you for coming up, and again, thank you for serving our country. And I always appreciate you. And thank you so much for being here, Riddler. Yeah,
it was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, dear. Aw, nice. We love Riddler. Yeah. Why about the shame their mothers? I have to know what you're talking about there. Hold it. I'm not sure. Anyway, hi DC Primetime. How are you doing, sweetheart? So yeah, well, that was all very interesting stuff. Thank you so much, Riddler. Oh, here we go. COVID brain. Okay, the video is going to play just about let's just listen to the video because I'm not making more sense. I'm not making sense anymore. I can't even order my words correctly. Just listen to the video.
On November 13th, 2022, these 4 university students were discovered stabbed in their home in Moscow, Idaho. Local police described the case as very complex, and it took more than 6 weeks for a suspect to be arrested. Together information from a case affidavit released by authorities, verified publicly available evidence, and pulled in ABC News reporting to create a visual timeline outlining significant events in this case. I'm Emmanuel Saliba, a senior reporter with ABC News. It's around 9 p.m. local time on Saturday, November 12th in Moscow, Idaho. According to an affidavit released by authorities, Zana Kernodle and her boyfriend Ethan Chapin are seen hanging out at the Sigma Chi house. It's about a 5-minute walk from their off-campus house on King Road. Zana's roommates Olivia Goncalves and Madison Mogan are at the Corner Club. It's a historic sports bar in town. They stay at the bar for about 3 hours, according to an affidavit released by authorities.
This is really good. Hang in there, though, to get to the latest stuff. I'm not sure where that starts in this video, but this is all real good.
Around 1:30 a.m., Kaylee and Maddie leave the corner bar. The next available images we have of them are in this surveillance footage obtained by ABC News. They're heading towards a local food truck, which is about a 6-minute walk from the bar. Police say this man with them is not a suspect. This is the grub truck. They have been streaming live on Twitch since about 10 p.m. And around 1:41 a.m., we see all 3 of them walk into frame. Maddie and Kaylee order food.
Have a good night. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Thanks. I think I would like to the car, but not.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you.
Absolutely.
How many more do you need? That's the second one? Awesome. Dawn's mom.
$10.
Cool. Thank you.
47. Thank you very much.
They wait around for about 10 minutes. Around 1:51 a.m., they grab food from the truck window and walk out of frame. Police confirm that at this point they get picked up by a car service, and about 6 minutes later, they arrive at home on King Road. According to an affidavit, Ethan and Zana are already in the house, along with 2 other roommates. 2:47 a.m., according to police, a phone belonging to the suspect, Brian Kohberger, stops connecting to the cell network in nearby Pullman, Washington.
I'm sorry, I'm getting impatient.
Will be heard barking numerous times.
We know all this.
It's the most important message that we have for you and your families is to make sure that you spend as much time as possible with those people, because time is precious and it's something you can't get back.
We're looking for a 2011 to a 2013 Hyundai Elantra.
December 7th, no
I want someone to make me a bobblehead doll of Chief James Fry. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but every time I see him, I'm like, bobblehead doll.
suspects have been publicly identified, and Moscow police appeal to the public for
Shit. This
It's
is false
agent-
advertising. This is labeled something other than what it is. Are you freaking kidding me? It's it makes me mad. Oh, I see. Oh, they want me to read it. No, I can't read anything right now. Damn it. Okay, sorry. Let's see what we got here. Maybe I will see how good it is.
Racial justice. Today,
No,
Millie
no.
reviewing troops one last time before swearing in his successor.
Sorry, I'm having a little tantrum. I'm okay with that. Come on. You're kidding me. The frick. Okay. Already played that one. Already played that one. There's like not a whole lot of videos. On the topic. This is wild. Why no videos? I could go with news, but then I might not get videos, and my voice is not strong enough to read. Freaking kidding me. Complaining. I'm going to continue to grumble and complain. Fuck. Come on. Is there legit no volume on this? I don't know, man. I'm just like, it's hard to find any videos on this, I guess. Nope, I need videos. Videos. I need a video. Okay, investigators served one of the search warrants to Amazon on May 10th and said there was a reason to believe the activity on the site from March 20th to March 30th, 2022, and also November 1st to December 6th, 2022, may hold clues to the murders. Okay, so we have some relatively specific date ranges. Okay, that's something, I guess. The warrant specified all detail customer click activity pertaining to knives and accessories. Significant because the victims were stabbed to death. Investigators have also said in court filings that they have DNA from the scene that was found on the knife sheath. The Amazon warrant further asked for details of payment methods, items placed in Kohberger's cart, removed or deleted from the cart. Nothing is ever deleted from your Amazon cart, my friends. Or saved wish listed items, as well as reviews read by the user and any comments he made. Damn. Jeez. YouTube was also served a search warrant looking for subscriber information and device identifiers for all devices that logged into accounts, including IMEI addresses, cookies, and locations. The warrant also requested channel analytics and comments made or mentions of the account made by other users. When did Papa Rogers stop posting? When did Papa Rogers stop posting? When did Inside Looking stop posting? Somebody needs to find that information because now we have, well, I have a hint for everybody out there listening. Specific dates. The last one date ranges being November 1st to December 6th, 2022. Now, we also have this statement saying YouTube was also served search warrants looking for subscriber information, device identifiers. The warrant also requested channel analytics, comments made, or mentions of the account made by other users. There's more going on of this same sort. So does anyone know when Papa Rogers and Inside Looking stopped posting on Reddit or that Facebook group? Anybody? Anybody? This could be a boom, guys. You hearing what I'm saying? The more information was redacted. We don't know. They were requesting the info for Kohberger. Papa Rogers was kicked out of the group on December 29th. Okay, right. He was kicked out. Thank you for that, by the way. That's interesting. He was kicked out of the group then, but when was his last comment in the group? That's what the question I would like to find out. Huh. I have more questions. I'm actually not going to ask them out loud because I actually think I have. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to, I don't know. You'll either hear more about this or you won't because it was something or it was nothing. All right, let me continue reading. The warrant served on Apple on August 1st similarly asked for the records of all devices associated with user ID, including electronic serial numbers and SIM information, SIM, as well as contents of all emails, instant messages, and files stored in the iCloud. Records were also obtained for locations where the account of devices associated with the accessed account, including all data stored in connection with AirTag, location services, Find My, and Apple Maps. A warrant served to Spotify asked for logs of user actions, including search queries, playlists, interactions with other users, and streaming history, as well as user device sensor data to include motion-generated or orientation-generated device sensor data, which the user device collects about the way the user moves or holds the device. See Alec Murdoch trial. Okay. Backlight on, backlight off, backlight on, backlight off, landscape, portrait, backlight, portrait, landscape, that stuff. Each warrant asked for any financial information linked to the accounts, and a search warrant served to Venmo on July 25th, as for all bank accounts, credit, debit cards, and transactions linked to the account, as well as the names of the transactions recipients. Search warrants released in June let us know that they were digging pretty deep into his digital activities, but this is like, whoa, excavating. All right, so there we go. Well, that's something, isn't it? Papa Roger started posting again, though. Do you think someone hacked the account, is messing with us? Yes, that's exactly what I think. What's the obsession? Do you have the actual document for this? For what, sweetie? The search warrant? Anaphylaxis. I meant the defense sounds desperate. I totally agree with you. Papa Rogers was kicked out at 7:10 on the 29th, according to the admin. Interesting. Just hours before he was arrested. Do I have the warrant? No, I don't. Is it available? Yeah, but I think he didn't post for a while prior to him being kicked out, which is interesting as well. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, I'm going to start to rabbit hole into Papa Rogers' world, and that's not good for me. I'm going to stop now. All right. Yeah, I didn't think so, McJ. No. Mm-mm. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to call that a wrap because I'm going to have to go obsess over Papa Roger's post and try to find all of the dates now because this is just what happens. Wait a minute. It's all about the cross-reference, guys. Shit, no way. Huh. Hmm. Mm-mm. I don't know. Okay, back to my previous statement. So, thank you so much, Desiree. Thank you guys so much for being here. Oh, okay, cool. DB Tavy sent me the photos from the camera. Oh, at 11:12. Are those the ones that came out somewhat recently? Is that what you wait, no, I don't think that's what you're talking about. Let me check it out real quick. Yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate y'all. And yeah, more to come this week on both this case, of course, and we have some Watt stuff coming up too. And sometime, I don't know, maybe next Friday or Saturday, as long as the weather starts to get fall-y where I am, we're going to do the live stream where I share with you my horrifying story of the paranormal when working on the Chris Watts case, and it's really freaking real. And some other things along those lines. And I know some of you would like to share your true crime paranormal stories too. I use the word paranormal hesitantly. I really do. But I have never experienced anything more real in my life. Yeah. Make sure I'm sharing that. Okay, cool. And more debunks. Aw, thanks, guys. You're amazing. Thank you so much. Get that. Ah. Sure. Okay, cool. Right. Awesome. Hmm. Oh, very cool. Yep. Gosh, I have not seen this picture in a really freaking long time. Thank you so much. So, okay. So in regards to the cameras on 1112 King Road, there is the one on the porch, the one that looks like the light bulb, and there is also this one on the side back of the house that is going to be the one that picked up the information in the PCA, right? Close to the west wall of Xana Kernodle's bedroom. Very interesting. Whoop, whoop, hold it. I don't know. There, they might want to see her. Anyway. Yesterday. Thanks, Riddler. What are you talking about, McJ? Is something I should be waiting for? Awesome. Hope you're hanging in there, anaphylaxis. I've been thinking about you. No, I don't know. Okay, right. I didn't like look at it thoroughly yet, so I just want to make sure just looking out for you. Oh, awesome. That's great. Awesome. Then definitely tune in. I think it's gonna be next Friday. All right, guys. So y'all take care. Everyone, take care of yourselves because life is hard and you deserve to be treated well. And you know what? Just stay away from COVID. It sucks. If you're in New York City, go get your swimmies on because there's some water coming. I'm really sorry about that. And yeah, hope to see you all really soon. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, moderators. You rock. Subscribers, members, and hey, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. You might want to come and hang out with us again. You never know. But I appreciate all of you, and I'll see you real soon. Oh, just send it through Kelly. Now, what am I looking at? Keep bringing me back. You're doing this on purpose. I'm just kidding. Wait, let me see. Oh. 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 Where'd you get that from? Oh, it's not even on the court. I'm so confused. How'd you get this? Okay, gotcha. Oh, cool. Haven't I read this before? Where's this from? Is this from my past life? I'm so confused right now. Have we read this before? You guys are messing with me, aren't you? It's going on here. Yes, I've read this before. Oh, okay, got you. All right. Well, you know what? I'm going to have to take a look at this when I'm, more like with it than I am right now. And we'll come back to that. Yeah, Brooklyn is like literally underwater. It's very sad. Prayers for Brooklyn. Seriously. Terrible. Metro North shut down. That's a big deal around here. Hey, how are you doing, Miss Lily? All right, guys. I got to go. I'm never going to go. But I love y'all. I'll see y'all soon.